we welcome you to the AutosByNelson.com race night here at South Boston Speedway. So happy you could be joining us, Eric, on what has been a gorgeous Saturday afternoon here at South Boston Speedway for the ZMAX Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear. Blake McCandless, Eric Brennan. We'll have James Pike catching all the stories down trackside. And Eric, whenever we get to late September or this part of the season, we have to be talking about the championship. We got some good battles, but could you imagine that when we left Florence Motor Speedway a couple of years ago, or a couple of weeks ago, I should say, just 1 point separates our battle in the late model stocks? It could not be any closer.
And I think it's only fitting that we come to a racetrack where, by the stats, qualifying may matter the most in the stretch run to close out the 2025 season. With this venue, Tri-County and North Wilkesboro, all that remain in settling the championship in 2025 for both classes. And as we joked before we came on air, Blake, there's a chance the points could swing between now and race time with the bonus points that are up for grabs in the late model stocks. It's unbelievable.
The Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole and Molly Pistons pole award for the late model stocks and pro late models respectively will pay out points to the front row, 2 for the pole sitter and 1 for the driver that is lucky enough to qualify in second. As we mentioned earlier, Eric, it has been a gorgeous entire weekend that we've had here at South Boston, Virginia. Temperatures in the mid-80s that are going to dip down into the 70s. It has been just beautiful, beautiful weather. It's a little bit cooler than what we had here just a couple of months ago for the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200, and sets up for, I think, what's going to be a really exciting race tonight.
And after what these fans went through last week for their season championship closeout, they've earned a weekend like this. Here's what we got on the docket for you. Qualifying is going to be coming up just a little bit less than 10 minutes from now. Driver introduction slated to begin at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. First green flag of the night, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's the pro late models, who also have 3 races left to go in their season. A special exhibition here with the Sobo Drift demo, right in between our 2 feature events, and the nightcap, the late model stock cars for 125 laps, part of the AutosByNelson.com race night here at the beautiful South Boston Speedway. 68 years of operation, and this place always looks good as new when we roll in here.
It does, and a very entertaining night set. Again, I think when the drift drivers came out earlier, just after practice ended for the late model stocks and pro late models, it was incredible to see the amount of team members and drivers that worked their way up the pit road to get a glance at what these fans, I'm sure, are going to enjoy very much here tonight. As we take a look at the track facts here at South Boston Speedway, mentioned it at the top of the show, opened back in 1957, 0.4 of a mile. But Eric, perhaps the biggest thing about this racetrack that has changed over time, and again, you can see some of the tire marks we had from the drifters a little bit earlier on this afternoon, is the repave that this track went through in 2017. It was first paved as an asphalt track back in the 1960s, but that repave in 2017, now that it's about 7 or 8 years old, starting to provide some incredible racing as this surface begins to age.
And one other thing that you can notice there, the track is not that wide. 45 feet just about all the way around, give or take some of the variances in the inside wall. And we've seen here before in all types of races, not just with the Cars Tour, not just with the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200, but if something goes wrong, either on a start or restart or off of one of the corners, it could be a melee. Well, how about one driver who wrapped up a pretty solid night in his NASCAR Xfinity Series car last night, trying to parlay some momentum here tonight? We'll toss it down to our third member of our broadcast teams, James Pike, who's standing by with one of the all-stars in the pro late model field.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Blake. I am standing by with an all-star in the pro late model field and a driver who picked up a top 10 finish in the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Bristol last night. Harrison Burton is going to pilot the Rick Rowe Racing pro late model this evening. Harrison, we were talking just a little bit before we got on air about how much fun you're having, how you've enjoyed this experience. So what has the experience been like with RWR this weekend?
It's been a blast for me just to get back to where I started, really. Where I cut my teeth was pro late models, super late models. So just enjoying that, enjoying the opportunity. Huge thanks to Rick Rowe Racing. Pretty rare you get a phone call. It's like, hey, you want to come race for us? And absolutely. So especially at my family's home track, just a really, really cool opportunity, and hopefully we can come out of here with a win.
He makes a good point. There's a lot of history between the Burtons and South Boston. Both Jeff and Ward have grandstands named after them here at South Boston. Harrison will look to plant his car in Cookout Victory Lane later tonight.
and has a good opportunity to do so with Rick Ware Racing tonight in that number 51 car, currently leading the Owners' Points Championship. They've had some really strong runs throughout this 2025 season. He'll be the third driver that goes out to qualify here for the Pro Late Models in just a couple of moments. But speaking of the championship, looking at the Pro Late Model division, on the driver's side of things, how about Ben Mayer? Still sports quite an advantage over Brandon Lopez right now, 30 points from first to second. Keelan Harvick settling right now in third, 42 points back. And Dylan Garner, second fastest in practice earlier today, sitting in fourth right now.
And one of the subplots at the top of the championship standings, Ben Mayer and that Cessna Racing development team, they've won a race this year, but not with the Cars Tour. In fact, it was their first race together earlier this year at Speedfest. He wants to win a Cars Tour event before the season winds down, and he's proven to have the pace to do it. But how about Keelan Harvick there? Third in points despite missing 2 events this season for various reasons. This 3-race stretch could really tighten things up a bit as we head down to our finale at North Wilkesboro Speedway on October 18th, with more checkered flags on the line between now and then.
And the pressure is on for Brandon Lopez and Keelan Harvick to give chase. They got to have some great points nights tonight if they want a chance to try and challenge for that championship at the end of the season. But you look at the late model stock cars, Eric, again, first lead change we've seen since the beginning of the 2025 season. Connor Hall still sits 1 point back, but it is Landon Lewis who sits at the top of the heap. Cade Brown a little ways back, can still make up that ground here with just 3 races left in the season. Minnie Tyrell and Landon Huffman still within a race of the leader, but they'll need a little bit of help at this point.
And looking at Minnie Tyrell there, 4th in points, just kind of missed the strategy a little bit back at Florence, trying to play the tire conservation game there. Ended up with a 17th place finish, but he's proven that team could win on multiple occasions, especially when the chips are down. I think with 3 races to go, that's exactly what he's facing. Let's drop back down pit side to Pike.
We've got updates not only on the points battle, but we've got updates on the FloRacing Fieldmaster Award standings as well. For those who are unfamiliar, this is effectively for the driver that completes the greatest number of passes. It's not necessarily passing points. If you have some sort of trouble, you end up at the back of the field and you pass the field twice over, those count too. So maybe pass the points elevated, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. But if we look at the late model stock car standings, it's been 2 drivers at the top of this for the last few races. Ronnie Bassett pulled ahead of Donovan Strauss at Florence Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago. He's got a 4-position lead on Donovan heading into the final 3 races. And then if you look at the Pro Late Model battle here in the Fieldmaster, look at how tight this is between Rodney Dallas, Dylan Garner, Brandon Lopez, and Isaac Kitzmiller, all within 10 positions of one another. So Eric and Blake, that's going to be a great subplot to watch over the course of the Pro Late Model feature. And at the end of the season, whoever tops these standings in the Pro Late Models and the Late Model stock cars, coming home with a nice little dollar bonus and a little bit of extra cash, courtesy of our friends at FloRacing.
Thanks, Pike. And I love that initiative for 2025. And our chief scorer, Lee Watson, does a great job, Blake, giving us a lot of the breakdowns as to some of the drivers who made the biggest moves throughout an event. And you look at some of the places that we visit. We talk about qualifying being so important. Here, we may be looking at some of the drivers who don't qualify so well and where they pair up on that FloRacing Fieldmaster Awards list, because that, too, is going to come down to the wire just as the championship picture is this year.
Well, and it's a balancing act, right? A lot of these drivers, they want to be at the top of the championship standings. They don't want to be known for passing cars. They want to be known for winning races at the end of it all. But a great incentive that FloRacing has put together throughout this 2025 season and rewarded some very deserving drivers. Again, it's not easy to make up ground. We hear this time and time again in the Cars Tour with these drivers. Regardless of where you start in the field, it's difficult to make up those positions with how competitive this field is. And good to see that Ronnie Bassett Jr., Donovan Strauss, and the like will be battling that out for the title to call themselves the FloRacing Fieldmaster in 2025. But shouldn't be too much longer when we come back qualifying. Although I don't think we'll need a break. I think we're just about ready to send them.
And here's what's on the line. So bonus points up for grabs for the drivers who start on the front row. 2 points for the pole sitter, 1 point for the outside front row starters. So those are things that we are going to keep tabs on as each of these qualifying sessions roll on. And we talked about the importance of qualifying. I don't think we have a venue on the Pro Late Model calendar that has a statistic quite like this. In all 3 prior Cars Tour Pro Late Model races here at South Boston, the winner has started from the pole. Now, that doesn't necessarily dictate how the race unfolded. The most laps that a winner has led at a South Boston Pro Late Model event with the Cars Tour, 45. Spencer Davis did so. 1 year ago. We're going to kick off qualifying for a Mahle Pole Award, and this driver just came off a second-place effort in points in the 2025 ARCA Menards East Series after a 6th-place finish at Bristol on Thursday. Driving the Atlanta Paving and Concrete, number 47 for Bryson Lopez Racing. From Davidson, Nevada, this is rookie Tyler Wright trying to make his 7th start of 2025, and he tied his best finish of the season last time out at Florence. A solid effort, finishing 3rd. Wright is going to be the first car to lay down a lap time, as we have 16 cars slated to come out to partake in Mahle Pole Award qualifying.
Next car on the racetrack, again, there will be 2 62s in the field. This one is the Time King Motorsports entry from Long Island, New York. Rodney Dallas behind the wheel of this machine. Making yet another start here in the ZMAX Cars Tour this season. See these Pro Late models able to carry so much speed. Trying to wrap the bottom in 3 and 4 as they come to the checkered flag. No dead lap. As soon as they come off of pit road, their first lap against them will count. As you can see, Dallas clocking in 2nd fastest, a 15.3 on that last lap.
Here's the driver we just heard from a short bit ago, fresh off a 7th-place effort in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race last night. Playoff contender there, not trying to be a race-winning contender here. Driving the Parts Plus, Schaefer's Oil, and Airbox, Rick Ware Racing, number 51, from Huntersville, North Carolina. But his family hails from right here, South Boston, Virginia. It's Harrison Burton trying to see if he can get this team their 4th win of 2025. Luke Baldwin has done it twice. Carson Ware also took the team to victory lane. As he comes to the line, he will go fastest. So to the Mahle pole for Harrison Burton with a heavy hitter on track.
Very heavy hitter. In fact, he is the defending Mahle Pistons Pole Award winner from Florence Motor Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. And for what we saw in mock qualifying earlier this afternoon, is going to be able to put up a time that should challenge that 14.999 set by Harrison Burton. In fact, Harvick will go just a bit slower, a 15.041. Just needs 42 1/1000ths of a second to try to make it yet another pole in this 2025 campaign. And Harvick's going to be able to do it. 14.983 goes to the top of the charts in just 16 1/1000ths of a second, better than Harrison Burton.
The driver who came up 1 spot shy from his first career Cars Tour Pro Late Model victory last time out at Florence, picked up the iRacing Halfway Leader Award, Factory Canopy's Most Laps Led Award, and Heatwave Hot Lap Award at Florence Motor Speedway. Car 44, Connor Jones, who is 4th on his first go-around out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, making his 5th Pro Late Model start of 2025. Led more than half the race at Florence Motor Speedway last time out, and here he comes to the line to see if he can have a significant pickup on lap 2. The 2nd lap will be better, but not enough to move up from P4.
Oh, a little bit of a wiggle as this driver comes to the line. And Eric, I think we all remember at Caraway a couple of months ago, the interview that this driver gave after finishing top 3 in what was just one of his first starts in the Pro Late models here with the ZMAX Cars Tour. He gained a lot of fans, and he may have scraped the wall coming out of turn number 4. This is Brody Gunter in car number 17, the Fab Specialties machine. And unfortunately for Gunter, with that slip up in 3 and 4 coming to the line, he clocks in at a 15.231, trying to best it here on his 2nd lap. He is going to go faster, but will stay in that 5th position for now.
Next driver on the racetrack, as Blake mentioned, very fast in the practice session that was held here earlier today. 4th in points, making his 25th career Cars Tour Pro Late Model start in the GESI DPX Fit G Sport by GESI and AR Bodies number 97, Dylan Garner. His first lap, 4th, needs about a 1/10 of a second to jump up to where Keelan Harvick sits on the Mahle pole, perhaps for the 2nd race in a row. If Harvick could hold on to that honor. Right now, Garner is looking for a big improvement here on his 2nd lap, and it's not going to happen. In fact, he's the first driver to slow down on lap 2. Garner will remain 4th for now.
A couple of really strong runs leading up to this venture at South Boston Speedway. For the most recent ARCA Menards Series East champion, Eric, that you got to see crowned at Bristol Motor Speedway just a couple of days ago. How about Isaac Kinsmiller, one of a pair of Rackley War entries that'll take to the racetrack here tonight, one of which is sitting currently on the provisional Mahle Pistons Pole Award at a 14,983. Kitzmiller's first offering is a 15,106. Again, coming off a pair of top 5 efforts last 2 times out, including at Florence Motor Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. And looking to almost get to the front row as Kitzmiller comes up a bit shy, 3rd fastest at 0.64.
Top 3 right now separated by less than a 1/10 of a second. This driver is going to try to wedge his way somewhere in there or perhaps clear of that deficit. Mason Walters, 2nd career Cars Tour start in the UES, United Electrical Services Setzer Racing and Development number 61. And he clocks in 7th fastest on his first lap. Bit of a slide off at turn 2, but he's been on a bit of a roll, winning back-to-back South Atlantic Pro Series races at Tri-County and Orange County, making it 4 wins so far on that season. The qualifying effort's not going to be what they were hoping for, but this driver will certainly be quick. He sits 7th.
We've had the opportunity to welcome a number of drivers who have competed in the Cars Tour West in 2025 as they make their debuts out east. This is another such case right here for the driver that hails out of Phoenix, Arizona, Mia Lovell. And car number 40, been listening to this radio throughout the last couple of days or so as this team has been getting ready. And Lovell excited about running at South Boston Speedway tonight. 10th fastest currently on the speed chart. 2nd lap looks to be much better. And Lovell able to find about 4/10 of a second. Still 10th fastest, 15.608, the lap of record.
Here comes the Pro Late Model points leader. 30 points the margin over Caraway winner Brandon Lopez, and been the model of consistency. 7 top 10s, 4 top 5s, including a runner-up finish at Ace for the Setzer Racing and Development number 6. Ben Mayer right to the top on lap 1. The Chevrolet and BOE Marine and Honda Marine entry of Ben Mayer looking for Cars Tour win number 1. Lays down a flyer on his first go-around and looks to go faster yet. He won't go quicker, but that lap at a 14.914 is the new bar to beat.
And coming out just in front of the driver that is chasing him in the championship standings, it now sits at perhaps a 32-point margin for this driver, currently running 2nd in the championship standings. And if anything, will have double duty tonight, running his first ever late model stock car race as well as Woodstock, Georgia's Brandon Lopez for the Atlanta Paving and Concrete Chevrolet. And his first lap is not going to be able to match that of Ben Mayer as Brandon Lopez goes 7th fastest at a 15.146. And lap 2 is going to be much better, 15.013, good enough to sit on the outside of row number 2 for now with his championship competitors just in front of his windshield.
4 cars left to go, and a welcome back to the Walker Motorsports number 15 machine, this time driven by TJ DeCare. This will be his 6th start of 2025, and first since his top 10 finish at Hickory. Started on the front row for this race 1 year ago. 6th on lap 1 in the FurnitureByWalker.com and RaceShopFloors.com. Number 15 Toyota for the driver who originally hails from Land Lakes, Florida. DeCare looking for a 10th and a half on this 2nd lap around, and he'll get up into the top 5. Got about a half a 10th there for DeCare, who slots into the 5th position.
Been an impressive couple of months for this driver, whether he's running and winning in the ARCA Menard Series, running in TA2 Camaros, and also has been winning on this side of things in the Cars Tour as well. Picked up a Pro Late Model win at Cordele earlier this season and looks to have a very fast late model stock car. When we get to that a little bit later on in the program, it is Tristan McKee who clocks in 11th fastest, this with the Low Country Motorsports number 7 Chevrolet. Using up every bit of racetrack off of turn 4 is McKee, and is just about able to match the lap that Brandon Lopez laid down. Eric, we looked at this in the Pro Late models. We knew it was going to be competitive, hardly a 10th separating 1st through 8th right now.
And with 2 cars left to go, we welcome a driver also trying to make his Cars Tour Pro Late Model debut here tonight. Has been running in the ROC Late Model Series up north, and years prior competed in super stocks and 4-cylinder racing. This, the supertires.com, Bus and Gus Auto number 2 NY from Caledonia, New York, Colton Ingerick. He and his little brother Caden compete under the family racing name of Ingerick Racing, and Colton is going to make his debut tonight, slotted in 15th spot for the moment with just one car left to go.
Final car out, it is the number 4 of Trey Burke, the Wings and Wheels Foundation Chevrolet, another Hettinger Racing entry here. They have a pair of late model stock cars that'll come up in just a moment. This driver out of Alvin, Texas, Trey Burke, first lap through. Out of the top 16, let's see exactly where he will be slotted in. It's going to be 12th fastest for Trey Burke, needs just over a quarter of a second to try and unseat Ben Mayer at the top of the charts, and it's not going to happen for Burke. Ben Mayer, your Molly Pistons Pole Award winner here at South Boston Speedway.
By my count, his 4th pole of 2025, did so at Cordele, Ace, and Anderson. Looking for that first career win and trying to extend the championship points lead. In fact, he's going to do it by 2 markers, just by virtue of winning this pole award. Let's hear from our pole sitter. We'll go down the pike.
P1 on the starting grid, and as you just mentioned, Eric, 2 bonus points to the Malley Pistons Pole Award winner and the current points leader in the driver's standings of the Pro Late Models, Ben Mayer. Ben, this track is a little bit different in style compared to the other ones that you sat on pole for this year. So what sort of unique challenges does South Boston present to you as a driver?
It was pretty challenging to get used to at first. It's a little different than all the tracks we've been to, but we worked on it really hard all weekend. The guys worked on it so hard to get the car really good. We didn't start off where we were hoping, and we kept on working on it and got it better and better. And we honestly didn't know how it was going to go coming into qualifying, but it turned out pretty well. We got it pretty good, and our race run was pretty good, so hopefully we do well in the races as well.
I was listening to his radio over the practice sessions earlier this afternoon. They were a pretty chatty bunch. They did have to work on this car a little bit, but so far so good. It's worked out well for Ben Mayer, who is the Malley Pistons Pole Award winner for the Pro Late Models at South Boston in 2025.
It's one driver leading his respective series in the championship points, able to grab a Malley Pistons Pole Award. The first driver that will send out for the late model stock cars will look to do the same. It'll be Landon Lewis and 27 of the other best late model stock car drivers in the country up at South Boston for qualifying right after this. Back with you here at South Boston Speedway on FloRacing's coverage of the ZMAX Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear. Plenty going on FloRacing across all of our platforms tonight. Eric, it's kind of that time of year. It's getting close to fall weather, and we got plenty of championships that are being crowned throughout the Southeast and the rest of the country. Jennerstown, I know they're crowning their champion tonight. Berlin is having their championship tonight as well. So is Hickory Motor Speedway. A lot of great racing, and I think the multi-view on FloRacing going to be the friend of many fans out there that are spectating this one tonight.
Yeah, certainly one of my favorite options that I'm able to exercise. I think just about every night this week, it has been my viewing choice to watch something on Flo. Typically, Stafford Motor Speedway on Friday night. nights, Thunder Road on Thursday nights, high limit sprinkled in all throughout. And as you said, with everything going on across the short track landscape, whether it be on pavement or dirt, this is the part of the year where things start to ratchet up a little bit with so much on the line beyond just the chance to win races. And that trend continues into South Boston, where we now shift our focus to Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award qualifying for the late model stock cars. And one of the cars that we certainly have circled to keep an eye on is going to be the first one to roll out in our most recent winner and championship points leader, Landon Lewis. And he will be the first car to roll to kick off this session. 28 cars slated to take time. Unfortunately, the Kevin Powell Speed Motorsports entry had to scratch. That's Hudson Bulger after a motor problem. The team tried to get an engine in time. However, they were unable to do so. They had top 5 pace in the practice session. First car on the racetrack, the championship points leader, trying to extend the mark here if he can win another Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole in 2025. This is the Rensource MMI 704 Hemp number 29 for Kevin Harvick Incorporated out of Supply, North Carolina, who runs a 15.225 his first go-around. 4 wins this season, including the last 2 races. Trying to see if he can win 3 in a row. Landon Lewis, making his second Cars Tour South Boston start, will set the bar at a 15.123.
Got to say, that's a really good lap for these late model stocks that throughout kind of the mock qualifying sessions we've been watching throughout the last couple of days, it's usually about 2/10 or so that they're giving up on the pro late models, and Landon Lewis kind of sets the bar exactly right there. Another strong run looking for this driver out of Supply, North Carolina, the Aaron Sales and Lease and Elliott Properties Ford of Chad McCumbee, looking to best that marker that Landon Lewis just went out and set, and he nearly identically matches his first lap at a 2:48. Second lap through for Chad McCumbee. Going to cut the line short down the front straightaway, but come up just shy of Landon Lewis's mark, 15.181.
This driver already has a Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole in one of his first starts of the season. Did so at Caraway, making start number 3 of 2025, all with this Nelson Motorsports team on a big night for the organization. In the Autos by Nelson, Valley Star, and Castrol number 12, it's the 2023 Valley Star Credit Union 300 winner, Trevor Ward, and the Nelson Motorsports entry from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. First lap for Ward, about a 1/10.5 plus off of the lap laid down by Lewis. Ward's second lap is going to be 3rd for the driver who finished 2nd in track championship points to Peyton Sellers here in 2025.
I was about to say, I was watching FloRacing the last couple of weeks here at South Boston Speedway, an incredible battle between Peyton Sellers and Landon Pimbleton that took place throughout 2025. An interesting note here for this car right here, you mentioned Trevor Ward in this battle. Brandon Lopez running his first race in a late model stock car here at South Boston Speedway with the car that Trevor Ward was battling with here in 2025 at this racetrack. First lap is a 3:69. Got to catch up with Brandon a little bit earlier today, and he was quite pleased with the progress that they had made on both of these cars and the fact that, again, this is his first race in a late model stock, and he'll actually out-qualify that of which he got this car from. Brandon Lopez, 3rd fastest.
Next on the racetrack, 5th car to take time in this session, 12th in points so far in her rookie campaign with the Lee Pulliam Performance Team, and the Folsom Fence Supply 03 with a bit of a moment off turn 4 out of Jackson, Georgia, Laney Bice. And unfortunately for Laney, that moment happened coming to complete lap number 1 and start lap 2, fresh off of what was the conclusion of her ARCA Menard Series campaign with the Rev Racing organization in 2025 at Bristol. Having a great run there across her 4 races. Laney will go faster yet on lap 2, but remain 5th.
And I think Laney struggling there with what we've been hearing throughout the weekend is these drivers that may be a little bit tight as they go through the corner. They're then having to use so much wheel that they're getting loose on the exit of the corner. Looks like she was battling a little bit of that. So we welcome the IBCI Chevrolet of Landon Huffman out of Claremont, North Carolina, 5th fastest on his first lap through. And again, I think when it comes to scheduling in 2025, this team may be one of the premier teams that are begging for 150 laps, because I think they may have won a couple races if that were the case here in 2025. Fourth fastest for Landon Huffman is able to improve to a 261.
Talked about all the drivers trying to make their pro late model debut tonight. How about the driver trying to make his late model stock car debut? The plan was to try to do so at Florence last time out. Had a problem with the car post-qualifying, so they shifted the plan here tonight, and he's got some momentum on his side. Just wrapped up the Arkham Arts East Championship a couple of days ago. A warm welcome to Isaac Kitzmiller out of Petersburg, West Virginia. This is a Van Dyke Racing Performance entered car for ALL Construction. Kitzmiller, 7th on his first go-around. He'll try to improve here. Needs a good bit, I'd say a good chunk to get Laney Bison. He will find it on that second lap. Big pickup on lap 2, and will jump up to 1 spot to move into 6th.
And looking at the practice times throughout the course of this week, this has been one of the strongest cars that has consistently been up towards the top 5. It's the number 41 of Mason Diaz running the Hedgecock Racing house entry here this weekend at South Boston Speedway. Does he have the speed to challenge for pole? First lap through for Diaz is going to clock in 8th fastest at a 5.20. Gotta say, Eric, there's a lot of drivers right now going through 1 and 2 that are just not able to keep that car pinned down at the bottom on that first lap. Diaz does a better job of it here, but still 6th fastest at a 2.93.
Making his 7th start of 2025 and first since the Throwback Classic, where he battled back through early race adversity to finish 12th. This is the Pinnacle Racing Group number 28 of Landon S. Huffman from Connolly Springs, North Carolina. And he's got a new crew chief here this weekend. Carter Langley, 2023 South Boston Speedway track champion and former Cars Tour competitor. Now helping Landon S. Huffman at this speedway in what is his 3rd visit with this team, including an 11th place effort in this race 1 year ago. First lap for Landon S. Huffman was 9th. He's going to move up to 7th position with a lap of record of a 15.388.
New look for this driver out of Randleman, North Carolina. Ryan Wilson, the Mid-Carolina Landscaping Ford, making his way out onto the racetrack. A bit of a different look for this driver. Again, this is a Marcus Richmond RNS race car, which is different than what they've typically brought here in 2025 to these races. Wilson's first lap clocking in 8th fastest at a 3.93. Got to chat with Ryan earlier today, who says the focus has been on qualifying. They replaced the rear end in this car just before the practice session earlier today and is able to improve up to 7th at a 3.62.
All eyes now turn to the Bass Pro Shops, Roto-Rooter and Sundrop number 88 for the Junior Motorsports team. Connor Hall, 2nd in points, 1 point behind Landon Lewis, with Landon sitting on the provisional pole. He won the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson race here back in June, and he's looking for his first Cars Tour win since round 3 at Cordele. 4th on his first lap, needs a little bit more than a 10th to potentially tie the championship standings should he go to the top. And Hall is going to pick it up, but not enough to get to the front row. Connor Hall to 3rd as Lewis protects the pole for now.
Up next is a driver that many fans here in the Virginia region are very used to seeing. With a big smile on his face, has been a longtime competitor at Franklin County at South Boston Speedway throughout the Virginia area. One of many drivers that calls South Boston Speedway home that are looking to make a mark here tonight. Kyle Dudley, first lap through, 9th fastest for he and his race team. Able to keep that car pinned to the bottom in 3 and 4. Checkered flag. Can Dudley go a bit better? In fact, he goes up to 3rd. 15.212. So Dudley knocks Connor Hall back to the outside of row number 2.
As the next car hits the track in the Hettinger Racing number 71, the Southern Bank Vet Adventures, a Victory Customs trailer car for Parker Eaton. We'll toss it down to James Pike.
Trevor Ward is back in a Nelson Motorsports race car at South Boston. Trevor, you all were very busy this morning working on this thing. What kind of work did you do to get this car ready for tonight?
Just like, qualifying's over with right here. We've been working on qualifying speed. We just feel like we haven't just quite got it there, but we've got a pretty good race car, but I feel like we're going to be somewhere in the mid-pack, maybe a little bit worse, but I feel like we got a good race car, and appreciate Barry Nelson for believing in me and giving me this opportunity.
Racing with one of the preeminent teams and a winner of the Valley Star Credit Union 300 in 2023, Trevor Ward.
This car heading into turns 3 and 4. Mentioned the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 that is run here. That's the sponsor adorning the hood of the #2 Carroll Speed Shop entry of Brandon Pierce, whose first lap is going to clock in almost, I was going to say with his teammate, but that's Landon S. Huffman. That's 11th fastest at a 3:88. I'm not sure if that second lap was going to be enough to improve, but just enough. And up into the top 10 goes Brandon Pierce, 15:3:48.
One of the drivers pulling double duty on the night. Now back in his late model stock car. Last time out at Florence, Crossroads Harley-Davidson hard charger by virtue of his strong run at the Florence Motor Speedway. Just came off of the Bristol Motor Speedway track with a start with Nice Motorsports, finishing up in the top 20. This is the Jones Utilities and Construction and Family Tire and Auto Mike Darn Racing number 44, Connor Jones. His first lap was 14th, so Connor hoping that he saved the best for last year as he comes back to the start-finish line, and he does. A leap up to 7th in the running order for three-time Cars Tour winner Connor Jones.
There's a couple of cars that I think many down in the pit area are very anxious to see what lap they're able to put up in qualifying and what track position they're going to start this race with. I think this number 7, Matt Piercy Racing, Spire Motorsports Chevrolet of Tristan McKee is certainly amongst that group here this afternoon. And McKee's first lap, 2:86. Here in the late model stock cars, again, has an opportunity to double up here in Cookout Victory Lane amongst the pros and the late model stocks. Off at turn 4, man, they use every bit of racetrack out here. McKee improves up to 4th, 1,000th off of 3rd, a 2:13. It is close up in the top 5 here this afternoon.
Next driver up is going to be our winner at Langley. This is the Meta Corporation, AH Race Cars, Atkins Propane 00 from King William, Virginia, Chase Burrow as we jump down the pike.
Kyle Dudley with a top 5 run on the board. Kyle, what about South Boston and just racing in this part of the country suits you and your program so well?
We've got some experience here, which definitely helps. I won't say this is my best track by any means, but we have come here enough. I'm comfortable here. I know what we need in the car here, so all that helps. It all comes down to knowing what you need to have a good car, really, anywhere you're racing. That's kind of the name of the game here. So looking like we're hanging on pretty good right here. It's been a lot of 21s, and we're in front of all of them right now, so that's a good sign. Hopefully it's a sign for things to come tonight.
Fast car, and he's got the Screaming Eagle Heat Wave sunglasses on, proud partner of the car store too, so I wonder if maybe that got him a little bit of extra speed.
Speaking of extra speed, hoping that this driver has some in the Valley Star Autos by Nelson Toyota. Always some pressure when your sponsor is also the sponsor of the race here tonight at South Boston Speedway. For young Carson Lofton, a king of the modified here at South Boston Speedway prior, is able to nestle his way and tie Landon Huffman, 7th fastest for now for Carson Lofton.
When we talk about the championship picture, the driver who's trying to play the role of the spoiler amongst the top 2 is on the racetrack now. 3rd in points, 25 markers behind Landon Lewis. As things stand, Cade Brown, the RNS Race Cars entry. This is the GU Eagles, Sterling Building Group, WG Speaks, Caswell Glass, and DreamWorks supported car for the driver out of Full Shear, Texas. And that first lap was not what they were looking for at all. And he's wrestling the car to the wall off 4. Brown will pick it up, but not enough to 15th for Cade Brown. They've got some work to do tonight to make sure they're still within striking distance come Tri-County.
It may not be the championship points lead, but that FloRacing Fieldmaster Award, as well as the Bilstein Shocks Rookie of the Year, looking to try and win each of those titles here in these final trio of races in 2025. Back in the Liberty in a Can, number 4 is Donovan Strauss out of Marietta, Georgia. And Strauss is actually going to go out and just about match the second lap that Cade Brown just put down at a 3:52. 16th for Donovan Strauss, and it looks like lap 2 going to be a big pickup for Strauss. He finds a 10th, and he'll find about 10 positions. Donovan Strauss, 6th fastest, up to a 2:35.
Just wrapped up a 12th-place effort in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Bristol, driving in relief of Stuart Friesen, who continues to recover from an incident in a dirt track crash not that long ago. Racing for a playoff spot there, racing for another Cars Tour win here is the Tom Usry Racing. Win Site Development, Fayetteville Heating and Air, and Butler Built Seats number 17 for Caden Honeycutt, who is 15th on his first lap, making his 7th start of the season. He finished at 4th at North Wilkesboro. And looking for more here tonight. Slides up into the top 5, trying to better a second-place effort at Caraway. Honeycutt rounds out the top 5 for the moment.
I mean, just look at 3rd to 13th. It's 8 hundredths of a second separating 3rd through 13th. That is just unbelievable, or 81 thousandths, I guess, if you want to be technical about it. But we'll see if Ronnie Bassett Jr. and the Buddy Scoots Ice Cream 04 at Winston-Salem, North Carolina, can slot his way amongst the top 10, or perhaps even better, has had a really strong race car all weekend long here at South Boston Speedway. Second lap through for Bassett is going to slot himself right in the middle of that gaggle of cars. Ninth fastest for Ronnie Bassett Jr. at 2:53.
Here's another one of those drivers vying for Rookie of the Year honors, as we've only got a handful of cars left to go. Driving the Jones Toyota, Air Doug number 88 for Lead Polier Performance out of Forest Hill, Maryland, Doug Barnes Jr. Fresh off of what was a win at Southern National Motorsports Park from the pole in the I-95 showdown in the off week last week. 9th in points, only a couple of markers behind Donovan Strauss, who holds top honors as the best running rookie at this point in the season. And Barnes jumps to 3rd, a tremendous qualifying effort for Air Doug.
That is unbelievable. After listening to the radio of that team fighting this race car yesterday, I'm sure they are going to be thrilled with that qualifying effort here this afternoon. And speaking of drivers that know how to get it done, how about a driver that started top 5 in each of the last 2 Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200s? This is the 05 of Mason Bailey, who is not going to be able to match that effort here on his first lap. In fact, he's 22nd of the 24 cars that we've sent out thus far. And oh, a big wiggle through 3 and 4. Can he still find a little bit of speed? It does look like that'll be the case. So Bailey improves on his lap time. He goes up to 18th at a 3:33.
Two-time Cars Tour late model stock winner here. Last time he did it, 2023, he led every lap. The 2016 champion in the Blackgate Hunting Products and McCaskill Motorsport 08. Deke McCaskill is back. His first start since finishing in the top 10 at the Throwback Classic at Hickory, but the first lap is not in the ballpark of what he was looking for, hoping for a big pickup on lap 2. McCaskill, the 25th car to take time, and he will improve just by 2 positions. 23rd for Deke McCaskill. We'll see what he's got come race time with 2 cars left to go.
I would watch what this car has, folks. The consensus down in the pit area is that many think this is the fastest car on the property here this afternoon. It's the number 81 BDL Motorsports Jesus is Lord Victorious Swimwear, number 81 of Minnie Tyrell, who goes right up to 4th on his opening lap. 15.210, 3 times a winner here in 2025, but looking for yet a handful of Thunder Road Harley-Davidson poles. Can he get it? Yes, he does, by 2 1/1000ths of a second. Minnie Tyrell goes to the top spot with just 1 car left to go.
And the only car to go is the driver who sat on the pole 1 year ago in the Leisure Time Rental, Samuel Millington Motorsports number 15. Ryan Millington trying to knock Minnie Tyrell off the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole and potentially knock Landon Lewis out of a spot to be able to extend the championship points lead. First time around for Millington, matches the car number, 15th. Final car, final turn. Millington to the checkers, will jump up to 11th, and that means Minnie Tyrell is going to claim the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole at South Boston. And by virtue of qualifying second, Landon Lewis will add 1 point to the tally to his championship lead. The margin grows to 2 over Connor Hall.
Incredible effort there for Minnie Tyrell, who has once again, with him and his crew chief, Brandon Butler, who have just been hitting on all cylinders here in 2025, have built yet another fast piece and is able to go out and execute here at South Boston Speedway. As we mentioned, 3 times a winner in 2025. Currently sits 4th in the championship point standings, Eric. And again, 45 points back as Minnie Tyrell sits in 4th right now. That's not out of the question with a little bit of help. And, you know, the best thing he can do is go out and get as many points as possible, starting on the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole. That's exactly the way to do it.
And nobody's been able to prove their ability under pressure, under duress, or under any sort of extreme microscope than Mini Tyrell this season. The 3 victories, including Wake County, his own race that he hosted back at Dominion, and the Throwback Classic for $50,000 that very well may have saved his season. Now he's trying to see if he can keep himself alive in the championship. Tyrell with the flyer ends up laying down the pole award here at South Boston. Tyrell, the quick time setter. Landon Lewis second. Chad McCumbee third. Doug Barnes Jr. fourth. And Kyle Dudley with one of the hometown feel-good stories of the qualifying session. But to hear from our Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award winner, we'll go down to James Pike.
Mini Tyrell, you were excited, even in the car, before you even got out of the car, to take home the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award. You were clenching your fists, you were screaming. So does this one maybe mean a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. Super cool to have it here. This is one of the tracks that I've kind of struggled with a little bit as a driver growing up, and just proud to do it, man. The past 2 races haven't treated us great, and the guys working so hard, man. We unloaded with an absolute rocket ship from yesterday all day long, and it just stayed that way today. Brandon Butler, Dan Hippie, Colin, all the guys that shot, man, they bust their tails on it, and it showed for them. I'm just so happy that, we got Carnage Performance Exhaust in the car this weekend. Coleman Rector and David Taylor with Jesus is Lord on the hood, and Victoria Swim, Convenience Tire and Auto. Everybody that's got a bit and piece in part of this car, I'm just proud that we can get them another pole this year. And to think we've done 4 this year is actually is insane, man. If you'd have told me that last year, I'd have never believed you. And just so proud of my team, man. And continued praying for Charlie Kirk and his family and the Kirk family. What's going on in this world is horrible right now, and I hope that everybody can spread some love and continue moving forward and just stop the hate.
P1 in Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole qualifying for Mini Tyrell.
A tremendous effort for him. And Eric, we look throughout the top 10, and you mentioned a couple of names. How about Doug Barnes Jr. qualifying 4th? That team needed that so badly. Kyle Dudley, as you mentioned, starting 5th. How about Brandon Lopez debuting in a late model stock car for the first time in his racing career, qualifies top 10 in a Cars Tour race? That's no easy feat to pull off.
And it should be noted, the furthest back a winner has ever come to win at South Boston, 6th, Carson Quapple a year ago. More to come from South Boston.